Can you get by with a $70 impact wrench from Amazon? We'll find out in just a moment. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. Today we've got the NEIKO model number 10880A, and it's the 20-volt brushless 3/8 drive impact wrench. Now, is it something you can use? Is it something that's actually usable? Well, we're actually going to find that out. We reviewed some of NEIKO's sockets recently. They're bit drivers, or Torx bit drivers, and they were pretty good quality stuff. In fact, they lasted through our testing and did a great job. However, we're talking cordless power tools now, a little different than hand tools. So we'll actually dive into the features, which a couple of things kind of glared out at us, and we'll bring those to your attention. And then we'll use it on our test rig as well. Then, as always, we'll come back and talk about pricing and warranty. Stick around. All right, so we have the NEIKO 10880A, and it's their 20-volt impact wrench. It's a brushless motor, runs on their 20-volt lithium batteries. I know NEIKO doesn't make this. I'm not sure who does. But anyway, you know what? I don't typically do the whole box stuff, but since this is an Amazon product, let's just look and you can see what they're claiming here. So powerful brushless motor, not just a brushless motor, powerful. Anyway, no load speed, 2,800 RPM, impact frequency, 3,300 BPM, which is blows per minute or impacts per minute. Max torque, 185 foot-pounds. Not sure if that's fastening or if that's loosening. We will find that out though. Anyway, charging time, 1.5 hours, forward and reverse switch. That's good to know. Battery indicator, 25%, 65%, and 100%. So must have 3 lights on the battery. Variable speed with an electronic brake and different speeds. So 118 foot-pounds, 148 foot-pounds, and 185 foot-pounds. Belt hook for safe and convenient storage. Excellent. Built-in LED working light. Good to know. And then what's inside? We have a 2.4 amp hour or 2.4 amp ETL approved fast charger and a 1x2 amp hour, so a 2 amp hour lithium ion battery. By the way, a fast charger, I don't know if I'd call it a fast charger if it takes an hour and a half to charge a 2 amp hour battery. Anyway, we'll get into that here in one moment. So that's what we're getting. So let's take a look inside. Beautiful blow molded case. Instructions. Who needs those? So here is our charger, which something is sticking out to me like a sore thumb, and I'll explain that to you in just one moment if you're not already seeing it. So this is supposedly the fast charger, and then here is the impact wrench. It is a 3/8 drive, and there's our lithium ion battery. I was about to say motor, 20 volt max, so 18 volt battery, and then interesting, very interesting. Again, I'm going to comment on that here in one moment. Looking at the battery, looking at the charger, something's really glaring out at me. And then looking at the tool as well. We'll dig into the details of this here in one moment, but this is speaking a lot to me right there. Some of you are seeing that already, but anyway, let's get this case out of the way. Okay, let's throw the battery on this thing. So it comes with this 2 amp hour battery. Yep, 20 volt, 2 amp hour lithium ion battery. And let's get a measurement on this. So height wise, right at 9 inches, and length from tip of the anvil to the back of the tool, looking at right at 6.5 inches. And then width wise, pretty narrow tool. What's that, 2.5 inches across. So not huge, not small. You get a battery indicator here. Yep, 3 lights on the indicator. I think, what did it say, 25%, 65%, and 100%. Oh, pretty. You got Christmas tree colors. So red, yellow, and green. I'm assuming that green is full, and then we're going to drop to yellow at 65% and red at 25%. It's one of my pet peeves there that you have to hold the button to see the lights. That's kind of old school technology when it comes to batteries. DeWalt finally changed theirs, hallelujah. But anyway, so you can see once I release the button, lights go out. Here on the tool, pretty typical impact wrench. You have our trigger here. They say it's variable speed. Let's see. Yes, definitely. And there is an electronic brake. It does stop rather quickly. But listen to that ramp up. So go wide open, and it takes about 1001. A little over a second for it to get to top speed. That's a really slow ramp up, especially when it comes to an impact wrench. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. In reverse is the same thing. Looks like here, okay, so we've got our different modes where we can go to low, medium, and high. And I hate these little bitty blister buttons. So a little bitty button there that you have to press. But anyway, it is what it is, and we have to activate it by pulling the trigger, and then we can select our different speeds, low, medium, and high. And I'm assuming those green LEDs tell us that that's the battery charge as well, I'm assuming. I don't know what those 3 green LEDs are, but I'm assuming as the battery dies, maybe that tells us the same thing. Then we get an LED light, looks like just a single cob shining from below the head here. We also get a 3/8 anvil, hog ring style or friction ring style anvil. So it's not a pin detent, it is a friction ring. Let's get a weight on this with the battery, and 3 pounds, 1 ounce, that's with the battery. Very light tool, so almost under 3 pounds, so just an ounce over 3 pounds with the battery. So if you want something light, well, there you have it. Okay, well, we have a spoiler alert. Usually this is the time where we say, oh, let's take it over to our test rig and test it out, and we're going to do that here in just 1 second. But truth be told, we've already done that. So we've already used it, we've already tested it, but you will see the footage here in just 1 moment. And I say that to say this, we noticed something on the test rig, not anything to do with power or strength or anything like that, but with this hog ring style anvil. Now, what a hog ring anvil or a friction ring anvil is supposed to do, and let me make sure you understand what I'm saying. So this little split ring right here, that's supposed to be a little bit bigger than this anvil here, so that when we put a socket on, then it kind of holds it and retains it. Well, what we noticed is it's really not doing that. In fact, a lot, you know, our socket on the test rig was actually falling off every time we used it, and it's because that friction ring, and I just literally spread it out with this, so it's barely grabbing. So it's just one thing to note, and really, again, usually when these things are new, they're kind of a pain to get on. So just wanted to point that out. I wouldn't say that's a huge drawback, but it is something. You could probably take a screwdriver and open that up, like I just did there, and probably get it to grab a little better. Yeah, so it's grabbing a little better, so I could probably spread that out a little more. So just something to note so that you understand. Now let me get back to when I first opened this up and I said something really screamed out at me when it comes to this charger, as well as this tool and this battery. So we know that this battery is DC, right? I mean, when we're talking battery power, we're talking DC or direct current power. We're not talking about alternating current like the outlets in your home or your business. So when it comes to tools, we've got a positive and a negative, DC power. And in this tool, we've got a positive and a negative. And in this charger, we've got a positive and a negative. In fact, I think they're even labeled on here. Yep, labeled positive and negative. Well, Tim, what's wrong with that? Well, here's the problem with it. When it comes to lithium-ion batteries, as technology has moved on into especially brushless motors, into lithium-ion batteries, into battery management systems and tools, we can easily overheat these tools. So the tools need to talk to the batteries need to talk to the chargers. That is not happening here. Now, the interesting thing is the battery has this third port, if you will. So there is a third terminal here that is typically like a data link, so that it can actually talk back and forth to the tool. However, there's no place on here for the tool to talk to it, nor on the charger. So my point being, you could probably burn up this battery easily and the tool's never going to shut down. Most of your newer tools, when you're using them, your name brand tools, the tool can go into thermal overload and also the battery can. So in other words, the tool's typically always monitoring the battery to say, hey, the battery, are you okay? Temperature's too high, shut down the tool. Let it cool off, and the tool reactivates once the temperature's down. Same way with the tool. If the tool gets too hot, it shuts down into overload mode and makes sure it cools down before it starts the tool again. So just wanted to point that out. We don't have that data link going on between the tool and the battery. So we're going to try out the NEIKO 3/8 impact on our test rig here, and as typical, we're going to go ahead and use our torque gun. We're going to torque, and we're going to start at 50 foot-pounds, and we're going to jump 25 foot-pounds. Because advertised torque on this is 185 foot-pounds, they don't designate whether that is fastening torque or loosening torque. I'm pretty sure they're meaning loosening torque or bolt removal torque when they list that number. We're going to make sure that we're on high as well. So we've got all our lights lit up, which tells us that's in high in both fastening and loosening. And let's try this out. But let's first torque these bolts, fasteners. So we're at 50 foot-pounds. So as I mentioned, we have 50 foot-pounds, 75, 100, and 125. Again, make sure we're in high, make sure we're in loosen, and let's go to 50 foot-pounds. It's really got a slow ramp up, just like the speed when I pull the trigger. It's a long ramp up in power, so it's utilizing, I'm sure, some soft start technology, as well as utilizing the RPM or the speed of the motor to then build enough power to spin the impact. I don't know how well that's going to work out, because I think you need that initial hitting like most impact wrenches have. Anyway, let's go to 75 foot-pounds. Okay, so again, showing that that ramp up, that slow ramp up, and breaking those free, you see it builds that torque, but it's again doing it very odd, and it takes a long time. So now we're at 100 foot-pounds. So it's breaking that free, but I think we're going to run into that ceiling where we only count to give it 10 seconds to be able to do its work. So here's 125 foot-pounds. So it was breaking it free at 10 seconds, and so we let it keep going. So that's 125. Now we're going to start back over here at 150, but I don't think we're going to get much further than that. So now we're starting back, and this is 150 foot-pounds now. So 150, 175, and 200. 150 foot-pounds. So that took longer than 10 seconds, but at the 10-second mark, it was already moving the fastener at 150 foot-pounds. Now we're at 175. See, we can see our indexing mark there. Okay, I ran that 20 seconds. It was ever so slightly moving, but as you can see, it still never really even broke that free. So I don't think I'm going to give it 175 foot-pounds. I would say somewhere between that 150 and 175 as to where this sits. So that's even in breakaway torque. So in other words, breaking away 175 foot-pounds, not actually applying 175 foot-pounds. So I think we're a little short of 185. I'll give it 150, but I would say it's somewhere, again, in between that 150 and 175. Well, we really want to know your thoughts on this. So did we hit 185 foot-pounds on our test rig? No, we didn't. We hit, somewhere between 150 and 175, and that was breakaway torque. So it doesn't hit the advertised claim of 185 foot-pounds. And we made sure to give this plenty of time to break those free, and we did more testing than just what you saw. So is this a viable tool, or is this a viable impact wrench? Well, that all depends on what you're looking for. Is it going to break lug nuts free? Probably not. If it does, it's just going to break free some of them, and then any of those pesky ones that are tough to come off, it's not going to do it. It just doesn't. I really think a lot of this has to do with that really slow ramp up and getting this tool up to speed, because you need that impacting right out of the gate. So I think that hinders it a lot. And then just quite frankly, I think it's kind of underperforming or underpowered, if you will. As well as they claim the fast charging of this charger. I really wouldn't claim that's a fast charger if it takes an hour and a half to charge this small 2 amp hour battery. Most of your quality tools now with a fast charger is easily going to take a 4 or 5 amp hour battery and charge it in just an hour. So I think we're a little behind on that one. Now when it comes to pricing, yeah, this is $72. So there's where your value comes in. What is that value to you? Well, that's going to be different. If somebody's working at a tire shop all the time, well, there's not enough value built into that price for this to be able to make it worthwhile for them. At the same time, if it's something where you're doing smaller stuff all the time and you just want something cheap, well, then this may work out for you. Now, when we look at warranty, NEIKO doesn't even include the warranty on Amazon. We read a bunch of the comments and it said basically contact NEIKO. So typically I would say this is a 90-day warranty. So not a lot of warranty built into that, and not sure how much you can trust that warranty either. Again, not speaking good or bad. And then when we saw the terminals on the charger, on the battery, and on the tool, we know this tool is not communicating with the battery. So if you are pushing this tool hard, there's a good chance you can either burn up that battery or burn up the tool or burn up both of them. And then I don't think you want to be in a situation where you're buying a battery or buying a tool for this. It's pretty much you're paying $72 and you're counting on, that going out the window when this tool dies, and then you can buy another one. That's where I think this may make sense. So check it out for yourselves. We will have a link in the description if you want to take a look at it. Not that great performing. It is a light tool. Could be very handy for someone, but that's our thoughts on it. Hey, would you keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter? If you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, if you hated our video, not if you hated the tool, if you hated the tool, hate the tool, but not us. Anyway, if you hated our video, then by all means, give us that thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.